Hello, everybody.
Hi again.
Nice to see you.
Hi.
Ooh. We are talking about a pretty big topic today. We've been speaking about mistakes and just how much in our lives we've been taught that when we make a mistake that we're wrong and that we're in trouble for that mistake. And it's a big topic, so there's a lot of charge around it. I'm feeling a lot of energy around my heart just because I feel so passionate about sharing that we actually are really innocent and that mistakes are a huge part of being human. We learn from our mistakes. We learn from the things that we do that don't really feel good or feel in alignment, and that's how we grow. And I feel like our main purpose here is to grow and evolve and just become more expanded versions of ourselves as we move and navigate through life. And so, we wanted to share this topic, and when we were talking about it today, we found a definition that I'll get you to read out.
Yeah, so the definition of mistake, as we searched online, says an error or fault resulting from defective judgment, deficient knowledge, or carelessness.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah. As soon as we read that earlier, I immediately noticed the word fault. And fault is taking on a characteristic as you. I am faulty. I have a fault. When mistakes do not share anything about our worth or our value or who we are, because guess what? Every single one of us makes mistakes. And so how can we be faulty? How can it be a fault when, if we're on this planet, we're guaranteed to be making mistakes? It just really struck me, that word fault.
Yeah, you're wrong for that. And then with that accompanies a whole slew of emotions. And one of the biggest ones we were just talking about is feeling guilty about making a perceived mistake. And for myself, I know that if I'm feeling guilty about making a mistake, then I want to hide. I want to hide and not see anybody ever again because I'm really wrong for doing that thing that was a mistake. And that really, that really gets me. Yeah.
It's so true. It makes you want to shelter away and hide away from the world. And it's incredible. What happens is we feel this guilt or we feel this shame, and then all of a sudden, the walls go up and we want to hide, and we want to hide away from the world, when really, that's what makes us human. We're all making mistakes all the time, and yet we punish ourselves and we also punish each other. How many of us have had someone do something to us that didn't feel good, and we say, you keep feeling guilty. If you feel guilty a little longer, then I'll forgive you. And we want people to wallow in their pain and in their shame and in their guilt, when objectively, as humans, I feel we don't consciously want to be causing each other pain. But when it comes to when someone wrongs us, it's like, okay, yeah, you deserve to feel pain. You sit in that pain a little longer, little longer, little longer. Okay, now I'll forgive you. Yeah.
You gotta wallow in that and feel really guilty about what you did because you wronged me, and your mistake really affected me. Yeah. And I feel like what that comes from is because, let's say I had made a mistake, and previously, before you made your mistake, let's say it was between you and I hadn't forgiven myself for that mistake. It's almost like I'm putting that onto you for making the mistake. Now I'm putting my guilt over the mistake onto you. And so I want you to sit and wallow in it because I'm sitting and wallowing in my own mistake.
Yeah. It's so true. And for me, one of the coolest things that I've experienced is as I learn to forgive myself more easily, and it's a practice, is to practice releasing any of that guilt or shame, because we've been conditioned to associate guilt and shame and feel those things when we make a mistake. And as I let go of that for myself, when someone does something to me that I perceive as wrong, I'm so much more easy on them. I'm so much gentler on them, and I'm able to let it go a lot quicker. And I don't want someone to wallow in pain and guilt and shame. And so when we do it for ourselves, that's when we liberate others and the people around us that we're in relationship with.
Absolutely, yeah. And we can be more compassionate and loving towards one another when someone else makes a perceived mistake. And then we can actually start to see that it's really a way to grow. You know, if you didn't make that error, then how would you know to do it better the next time, or in a different way the next time that was more aligned?
Yeah. Definitely. And that's one of the key things that, as we've been going back and forth on this topic, is realizing that society has kind of tied guilt and self-reflection together. It's like, you need to feel that guilt to do better next time. When really, we can 100% be self-reflective and also forgiving of ourselves at the same time. Like, it doesn't have to be those two together. It's like, yes, we can make a perceived mistake, and we can learn and grow from it and self-reflect, and we don't have to punish ourselves day in, day out for that mistake.
Absolutely. And the crazy thing is, a way for me that really helps to understand this and be able to release the guilt is that if I'm holding on to that guilt, then I'm going to continually punish myself, and then I'm more likely to make the same mistake again. But if I rather feel that feeling, like when I make the mistake, if I feel it fully, feel how that felt in my body and my heart and my soul, and let that move through me, then I can make a better decision the next time. And so I'm not holding on to that guilt or shame, which would then recreate another instance for me to be guilty or shamed over.
Right.
Yeah,
because when we don't let ourselves feel it fully at the time, then we keep pushing it down, and then it comes out in other ways. It comes out into our life. We talk a lot about feeling your feelings, and what happens is many of us for a long time have been not fully feeling our feelings, pushing them down, and then so when a situation comes up that brings that old emotion up, it's a chance to feel it fully so that it can be transmuted by the body and released. And when we don't do that, we just continue pushing down, and so something may happen where you hurt a friend unintentionally, and then you have some guilt around it, let's say. And then all of a sudden you might feel this huge surge of guilt, like bigger in proportion than what the situation is. Well, that is that old unprocessed guilt coming up to be released. It's actually a beautiful thing. And when we can sit with it and feel it, and then also at the same time feel compassion for ourselves and feel acceptance for ourselves. And we talk about self-love. I feel what self-love is to be accepting, is to be accepting of whatever's coming up.
Absolutely, yeah. To sit with it, to accept it, to feel it, and to help that feeling to feel loved, because it's a feeling that needs love.
Yeah.
It's being guilted or shamed or blamed or wronged, and so we stuff it down, and when we're given the opportunity to feel it again, it's coming up to the surface to be felt and accepted and loved and set free ultimately.
Yeah.
And I really like what you said earlier, is it really helps us to be kinder to one another. When another person goes through something, you can look at them with compassion rather than hold them to any guilt or shame around what they're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's liberating.
It's so liberating. And I had a huge experience of this about a year ago, where I made a big boo-boo, a big oopsie. And having been doing this work and knowing that I should be forgiving with myself and accepting, but really in practice, it's not always easy. And so what I did was felt huge surges of guilt through my body. And I said, okay, welcome. Take over. I'm giving you the space. I'm giving you permission. And so I literally allowed that huge, overwhelming, to the point where I could barely breathe, sensation of guilt come over me. And I let my body feel it, because we can handle it. Our bodies can handle strong emotion. And when it's uninhibited like that, when it's given permission to flow, it can be all-encompassing. It can fill your entire body. And continuing to be present and breathe through it, a miracle happens. It transforms, and it moves through, and it moves out. And I came to the other side still being able to self-reflect and reflect on the situation and reflect on moving forward, but without that self-punishment. And that was just like it was such a huge example of how powerful it is to let the feelings come, because we have all been conditioned to feel the guilt and to feel the shame, and so it's okay that it's coming up. When you can give it permission to flow through, you can come to the other side, which is self-acceptance and self-forgiveness.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that kind of ties into, like, let's go through a process. I feel like we've gone through this process before, but we'd like to bring it up as much as we can to show people how to move these emotions and how to feel things to the fullness and then release it basically out of the body, so we don't have to keep repeating that same mistake again and again and again. And so, yeah, just thinking of something in your life recently, if you feel like you've made a mistake recently or something's come up where you're feeling bad about something that you've done. So really bringing that into yourself, and then closing your eyes and just feeling yourself wherever you're sitting. Just feeling the full weight of your body wherever you are, whether you're sitting in a chair, on your bed, wherever it is. Just feeling your body there. And then taking 3 deep breaths. These breaths allow your nervous system to relax, knowing that it's safe to feel. And then just coming into awareness in your body and just noticing where the sensation is showing up in your body. Usually the emotion, whatever it is that you're holding on to, is more prominent in one specific area. So just taking a moment here to notice that. And just noticing that sensation and continuing to breathe into that space. Whether it's a feeling or a sensation, continuing to breathe. Beautiful. Now just imagining a waterfall of white light coming in from the top of your head, and just allowing that waterfall to flow all the way down into your body to wherever these sensations are arising. Letting this waterfall of light dissolve the sensation. Allowing it to move the sensation. And just feeling it moving down, all the way down, allowing it to move down through your legs and out through your feet and into the earth. Beautiful. And then bringing your awareness again into that area where you were feeling the sensation. Noticing if there's been any shifts.
The white light is a healing, cleansing white light of self-acceptance, really.
Yeah. Returning this feeling to acceptance. And really returning it back to your innocence. You are innocent. You are safe, and you are innocent. Just noticing any shifts in your body as you absorb these words. Beautiful. And then taking 3 more breaths to cleanse. You can gently open your eyes, returning to the space. I don't know about you, but I feel a lot more grounded. I feel like I'm in my body.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Yeah, you know, when there's these sensations that we're holding on to, whether, you know, this feeling of a mistake that we're holding on to, we actually shoot out of our body And that's why we can feel ungrounded and uneasy and maybe anxious even. It's because we're literally out, part of us is out of our bodies. So when we take the time to really come and feel that feeling that really just wants to be felt and accepted and loved ultimately, then we can land back in our body and it's safe to be here.
It's safe to feel. Yeah. Yeah, I love that you incorporated the innocence piece. That's so huge. It's not something that most of us think about on a day-to-day basis. Definitely me is like, I'm innocent? My essence is innocence. You know, before all of the crap that we go through, is we come as innocence. And so really connecting back to that, it's huge. It's a huge thing to hear and be like, oh wow, what? Me?
Reconnecting to that innocence, and then it allows all the other stuff, all the mind stuff, the mind chatter to just flow through, and you can reconnect to that aspect of yourself that really is innocent and is love and is beautiful. And then you can create your reality from that moment forward rather than from the baggage that you're holding on to from the mistakes you've made in your past.
Yeah, because when we've talked about this before as well, when we're creating life from these old emotions that are still stuck in the body and stuck in the energy field, we're seeing through a lens that's not clear. We're seeing through our perceptions from the past. And so when we give ourselves the gift of feeling, it really is a gift, as we like to say, then we're able to see more clearly. We're able to really be present.
That gift of feeling brings us back into the present moment, which is a gift.
It is.
It is a gift.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty amazing. And before we started this video, we were both feeling like a lot happening in our bodies because it's a visceral experience. That feeling of guilt or shame is just, whoa, it can just flood the body sometimes. And so really knowing that you are innocent and that mistakes are an inevitable part of being human. And as we make mistakes, we discover what feels more aligned for us. We discover what feels good and what doesn't. And really, like, in some way, mistakes could be celebrated because they're a rite of passage to discover what is your truth and who you want to be on this planet.
Yeah, mistakes help us grow. They help us to continue moving forward. They help us to continue evolving. So I really hope that this helps you guys to know that within yourselves, and that you're safe and you're okay, and that you're doing amazing. Yeah, we need to hear that more often. We're doing amazing as humans. Yeah.
You've got this. We've got this.
We've got this.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we would love to hear from you down below if you went through that little process, if you've had any experience with these feelings coming up. It can be quite painful, and it can be really, really heavy. And that's why we want to hide when we have the guilt and shame, and just knowing that we all experiencing it is really huge. But no one really talks about it, so we're here to share.
Yeah, and it's heavy because we're holding on to it. It's like carrying a backpack and holding on to all these things that we think are wrong. And so when we allow ourselves to feel, we're literally like emptying that backpack, letting them kind of like fall through the bottom of the backpack. And then it becomes light, and you start to feel lighter, and then you can, live your life from that space. And
Yeah, and that's
lightness and freedom.
Absolutely. And it comes from that permission to feel and accept yourself and accept what's going on within you. And yeah, God, what a kinder, compassionate world this is becoming.
Go on. Becoming more kind and compassionate as we feel, because what we feel, we heal, and then we no longer project onto others. We no longer guilt or shame one another. We can just accept one another and be more kind and compassionate. That's the bottom line, really, right?
Yeah, I like that. Well, thank you guys for watching.
Have a beautiful day, everybody. Remember your innocence.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Do, 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 do.